Guys from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Man, I'm fantastic. I'm good. I'm back at the office. Babies are healthy. Things are great.
Bradley, I have a joke for you.
Yeah, I could tell he was waiting on me to shut up.
How many insurance agents does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know, but I feel like this is going to be funny.
Takes 100. It takes 1 to screw the light bulb in and 99 to tell you how they would have done it different and better.
Yeah. You just described IOA and insurance soup all rolled into one.
Oh, I gotcha. Bing bong. Gotcha on that one. Yeah. So anyway, tell me about how life has been going with you today.
I'm not getting any sleep. Well, I should say Laurel's getting way less sleep than I am.
Can I ask you a very serious question? After having 16 kids,
which
how many?
One's my favorite?
No. How many? Truly, this is a serious question. After having 16 kids, how many months does Navy SEAL Team 6 training last before you feel like it's over?
Well, it's way worse for the moms. They have to wake up.
Shout out Laurel Flowers.
I think so. You get a little bit of a break when they start sleeping in their crib good, and then it starts back over when you move to the big kid bed. Because now they can get out. I would say conservatively 2 years.
Do y'all do this thing where if they come in your room to sleep with y'all, you get out, go back to your room? Y'all do any of that? Or do you
we only have one kid that does that, and he's the tiniest one, so I don't even notice that he's in the bed.
Right.
So I just let him get in the bed. But once he gets older, probably. Like when Clayton was like 6 or 7, I'd be like, go back to your room,
So I got a 19-year-old college baseball player staying at my house.
And he does that. He goes and gets in your bed.
No. But that grocery bill runs you about $500 a week.
Yeah.
Buddy, you want to talk about doing some eating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we have got an all-star guest. I am wildly excited about having our guest on today. He has a resume of success. He has starred in many of the early 2000s series on television that most of you grew up with. If he was here in person, Bradley, you would 1,000% ask for his autograph.
Oh, yeah.
And picture. I can tell you that right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give him the introduction he's always deserved. He is an alumnus of the University of North Carolina at Wilmington and holds Chartered Property Casualty Underwriter, CPCU, and Certified Insurance Counselor industry designations. He's been a featured keynote speaker for numerous organizations, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'd say just like me, the federal FBI is always calling me to do speaking engagements. National Public Radio, CIO Magazine, Insuretech Connect, Society of CPCU, and many others listed here. Prior to joining WTW, he launched the digital asset practice for a large national brokerage, as well as served as their head of innovation and corporate venture capital studio. He also co-founded a Web3 project called Web3 Labs, which was built to bring blockchain technology into the insurance ecosystem. He was named the FinTech and Digital Asset Vertical Leader for WTW in 2026. He is a recognized expert in FinTech and digital asset risk. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you Second time guest on the IGP, Mr. Garrette Droege. How are you? How are you, Garrett? I'm sorry, I'm losing it.
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me back. Good to see you.
Oh, great to see you as well. I think before we get started talking fintech and blockchain and all this other, we need to recognize the fact that you appeared on an episode of one of my favorite television shows of the early 2000s, Dawson's Creek.
I did actually a few episodes of Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill as well. So that's what you get when you go to college in Wilmington, North Carolina.
That's right. So if I go to the Google machine and I look up your name and type in Dawson's Creek, will YouTube like come up and give me some of your scenes in there?
I'm sure if you type it in precisely enough, it will. I mean, you can see it on IMDb and all the normal
Sure.
Hollywood websites. So, people can fact check you. It's legitimate.
And during that time, were you getting kind of the big head, like, I'm kind of a big deal, or okay, I didn't know.
Absolutely. No, of course. I mean, I moved to Hollywood shortly after that, thinking, well, that's clearly what's going to happen for me.
Right, exactly. This will be the rest of my life.
Right.
So, okay, getting my DeLorean for a second. At what point, being in Hollywood and doing that, and I'm guessing like going and reading scripts and auditioning and those kinds of things.
The natural progression leads to insurance.
Sure, right? Exactly.
Listen, I tell people I use my degree in theater more than anybody that I know because so much of our job is performance, connecting with people, and improvising, right? Like I was in a meeting last week where the buyer said, hey, I appreciate you sending the deck over ahead of time. I read it. That's not what I want to talk about today. So I'm going to put that aside and we're going to talk about something completely different. And I love that. To me, that's like, all right, great, let's improvise. And I can lock in with him, and everybody else was panicking. But that's what you get when you have a theater degree. So
there you go.
I think I missed my calling. I think I should have been in theater.
Hell yeah.
You both
Yes,
did.
you did.
Well, I don't know. Well,
Dude, this guy right here.
I just feel like in another life, I'm doing something besides insurance. But I think I am not the minority. I think most people in insurance feel that way.
I think you could very easily be like one of these Barstool Sports, Brandon Walker type personalities, or TikTok, one of these. I mean, you're way funnier than most of the people that are like TikTok famous. Like way funnier. The problem is like your funny would probably get you canceled as fast as you would be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've talked to. Well, I don't want to get into that. That's not the podcast. This isn't the podcast.
But like that's how I met Scott Garrett. Is like Scott and I friended each other on Snapchat, and he would send like these long monologues that were just hilarious, and it was stuff that if anybody but him said it, it wouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you do have a bit of a performative nature to your storytelling, and you watch a lot of comedy, so you pick up on the timing, whether you know or not, and you have made me a better storyteller just from doing this podcast. And that's a huge part of insurance, dude, is storytelling.
Storytelling, man. Hey, Garrett, I have so much to talk to you about today. I want to get to it because we don't, in the grand scheme of things, have much time to spend with each other today. But I wanted to talk to you today about specifically the blockchain and kind of where we are with that right now, because that was like a hot button topic a few years ago. It was like everybody was talking about the blockchain. And I remember even Bradley, back when we were doing our first One City World Tour, we actually had a panel that talked about the blockchain and what,
we sold what I think is the first insurance themed NFT.
Maybe the only one.
I believe.
Maybe the only one.
And we sold a series of tickets It sold
Yeah,
5 ticket.
great,
Ticket was
great use case.
was an
Yeah.
NFT, and there was each person that bought one got some sort of prize that unlocked whatever. And CJ Hudson Pillar actually bought the first NFT. I don't know if it was the first, but I've done
I
that
think it
before
was.
where I've said this was the first, and somebody's like, "No, this is actually the first." You know, whatever.
They
But
always say, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
So we
But
did that
how-
too.
yeah. And how does the blockchain stuff play into AI too?
Well, and
You know?
and I just wanted to know like where we are with it today, because unlike back then, you just don't hear a lot about the blockchain anymore like you were. You were hearing all, this is going to be the future of insurance and everybody's going to be on blockchain. Where are we today with it?
Yeah, so I mean, blockchain, and then we moved on to the metaverse, and then now everything's AI, and you could assume that the metaverse and blockchain both died.
Right.
Definitely not the case. So if you look at what's happening in finance right now, every financial institution, from the biggest bank down to the smallest community bank, is trying to figure out how to use blockchain, stable coins, digital assets to move money, because it's a more efficient way to move money across borders. So you don't have the same settlement periods. You have a lot of efficiency that you can gain, and so it frees up time that capital is unavailable to you. So you can invest it, and you can make it more efficient capital use. So um, everybody from JP Morgan down to you name a bank, if you Google them in blockchain, you will see they're all building on chain with stable coins or something. You might see tokenized deposits or tokenized real world assets. These are all blockchain tools. So yeah, it's still very, very, it's bigger today than it ever has been by
Well, and
a
it's
long shot.
it's also, if you look, I mean, we've seen this movie before. Like, if you look at like the .com bubble, right? Like prior to the .com bubble, everybody was getting like filthy rich off building nothing internet companies. And then you have the .com bubble. There's all this hype. .com bubble, it dies, and that almost affords more of an opportunity for the people that still take it serious because the hype's off of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great
It's
point.
basically the same thing happened with crypto. I'm a little scared the same thing's going to happen with AI, but it almost like history repeats itself in that sense.
But he made the comment just now. He said all these banks, from the biggest to the smallest, are trying to figure out how to do this. Are you saying that it's kind of a race to see who figures this out? Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, in most cases they're not just trying; they are doing. So
Okay.
I could tell you, there was a huge announcement last week with a consortium of Visa, Mastercard, Coinbase, Stripe, Bank of America, right? All I think 140 companies that are joining together to form an alliance for an open stablecoin project, right? So
Wow.
like these are weekly headlines that we're seeing. But Bradley's point is well taken, because I think what's happening now is crypto is kind of growing up. We don't use that word as much anymore. It's all digital assets or tokenization, and it's now institutional. So whereas 10 years ago it was these
it felt
weird,
a little scammy.
it 100%, a lot of it was real scammy.
Yeah.
There was good stuff in there, but
Yeah.
today it's much more institutional capital that's invested in it, and that changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like there's a lot of people that get really rich in the time frame where when people think, "Oh, there's nothing to that. It's over with. It's dead." You know what I
Yep.
mean? And I saw something interesting too that's in this realm that's not necessarily crypto, on why big banks created Zelle. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
So when Venmo and Cash App were created, um, apparently there's like, I think it's $1 trillion that lives in Venmo. Well, the banks are like, we're not making interest on that money. Like it's in Venmo, and so they created Zelle as like a loss leader just to capture some of those dollars back. And so a lot of times for banks, it's just like everything's a hedge. You know what I mean? It's not that
100%.
it's not that Bank of America is passionate about crypto and blockchain. It's that they don't want to be left out. When
Yeah,
somebody
it's
creates
a
something, they'll
threat
pull.
to the business model,
Yeah,
and I think it's now been proven with, especially stable coins, because
yeah,
crypto, it's always going to be speculative, right?
yeah,
You could believe in Bitcoin or not, but it is a speculative asset, just like any other investment. Whereas stable coins, especially the well backed stable coins like Tether and Circle, right? These are 1-to-1 with the US dollar, right?
yeah,
Mm.
Except so you think of them as digital dollars because they represent a dollar. They're backed with a dollar in reserves that's monitored by a third party, so that there's not going to be a fluctuation. There shouldn't be. There
yeah.
can be some unique quirks that can happen that cause it to depeg from a dollar, but it's
Mhm.
very atypical. Um,
Is
yeah,
is what you just described to me sounds very, excuse the expression, stable. Um, that was kind of a joke. Thanks, guys. But is that the future of our currency? Are we going to be one day, instead of, is it going to be on something like this stable coin that you're talking about right now? And I apologize, I don't know anything about it, but
Yeah, no worries. I think 100% the future of finance is digital,
mhm.
because if you think of and look, I'm
Dude,
just
I had to
one.
go to the bank. Scott and I had to send a wire transfer the other day.
Yeah,
I sat at the bank for an hour and 15 minutes. He went to the bank
Oh, don't even
to
get me
send the
started.
wire on a day that I couldn't, and he got there at 4:01. They didn't do wire transfers after 4 o'clock.
And nobody was
yeah,
in the
And I'm like,
bank.
crypto
right,
is going to solve the crap out of this.
and it
Like, sorry to
already does.
interrupt. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you look, um, all the major ways that we used to send wire transfers, and still do, Western Union,
Mm-hmm.
Swift, which is the
Mm-hmm.
network that banks use to talk to one another around the world, they're all using stable coins and blockchain now. So
Okay.
it because it's an instant settlement,
Right.
whereas before you go down to your bank and want to send money across a border somewhere, that money has to sit for sometimes a week before it can be validated and
Right.
delivered to that party. And so
Sure.
a lot of people, especially in the US, haven't quite understood crypto's value, because we have a very stable currency, and thankfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if you had relatives somewhere in Africa or Latin America where their currency fluctuates 30-40% sometimes, right? Timing becomes critically important.
Yeah.
And the fact that the bank will take a huge percentage just to transfer that money back home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, whereas
Oh, we deal
crypto
with
can
that with
happen.
paying our VAs. Like
Yeah.
I pay like a lot of the VA companies, when they pay the VAs, they charge the VA the exchange rate, the fee.
Yeah.
We don't, because we're just paying 3 VAs, but like we like, if I pay a VA $1,500, it costs me like 17.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know, and if you're talking about millions of dollars, it
You
adds up.
pay yours through Wise.
Yeah.
That's how we pay ours too.
And it's interesting to parlay that into AI. I remember a few years ago, you had a bunch of people, a lot of them very well known, a lot of them very smart, like really like crapping on crypto, Warren Buffett types, and it's like
Jamie Dimon at JP
Jamie
Morgan.
Dimon, even though they're now doing that.
Poster. Yeah, exactly.
I like Jamie Dimon a lot. But the if you don't even have to peel back. You don't have to peel back many layers of the onion. You just have to peel back like that skin on the outside that you can't eat. And you're like, oh, this person has a vested interest in this not happening. It's the
Yep.
exact same thing with AI. Like if I get on LinkedIn right now and I scroll for 10 minutes, I'm going to see 2 or 3 people like poo-pooing on AI. And almost every single one of them, not almost, every single one of them sells a service that AI threatens somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like and I've argued with some of them. Some of them have blocked me after you make too good of an argument. My argument is this. Instead of like talking down to this new technology that's literally changing the world, make your product stronger. Like
Yeah.
that's what you should do. You know, this might be a very crude example and non-PC example. Forgive me. How do you keep people from hijacking airplanes? Give all the passengers guns. You know what I mean? Like.
I mean, that is definitely one of the options.
Now, somebody may shoot out a window back. You know what I'm saying? But it's like make your, you show strength, right? Like make your product stronger instead of just trying to scare everybody into not using your data and right. And don't get me wrong, like there's some concerns, but like the thing that pisses me off about it, Garrett, is there's some young agent that looks up to this person that sees them talking about how AI is going to cause them, they're going to go to jail for using AI in insurance, right? And they don't do it, and then they're substantially behind when everybody realizes like, oh, you actually have to have this to survive. You know what I mean? And it's interesting to see those two parallels,
I totally agree. And Bradley, you've heard me say this before, but there's a quote that I love that I always think about whenever like I'm challenged by something. And the quote is, "It's difficult for a man to understand something when his salary depends on him not understanding it." And
that was on your slide deck at
Insuretech. Yeah. I mean, I use it all the time because it's such a good thought process of like, does this challenge me because it threatens me in some way?
Right.
And is that why I don't believe in it? And because that's, I think where most people are with AI, also with blockchain. I mean, it's a good parallel that it threatens certain business models, and so you force yourself to believe that it's somehow overhyped.
There's a lot of industries that are just one knob turn away. Now, sometimes the thing that's preventing them from being replaced is something substantial, right? Like I'll give you an example. So I met with my CPA earlier this year, recorded the meeting on Granola. Okay. Legal in Alabama for you to, only one party has to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped it into Claude, and Claude said, here's the 10 things he was wrong about.
Wow.
Now, Claude could do my taxes. And my taxes are pretty complicated. Claude could do my taxes. The piece that prevents me from doing that is what happens when I get audited in 3 years. So I'll give you a business idea. Somebody that will audit or that will sign off on Claude done tax returns, right? And charge a lower fee, whatever. But speaking of Claude and speaking of Insuretech, so Garrett and I were on a panel at Insuretech together. We got off stage. We were over there on the side, and he goes, "Have you seen Claude Cowork?" And I not only had not seen it, I had not heard of it.
And it's all that Bradley uses now.
I purchased a Claude subscription on the flight home, almost immediately upgraded to a max plan, and I typically don't work nights. I think I've been on a computer every night after my kids go to bed since then. Like, it's completely changed the way we do business. So it's the whole Anthropic ecosystem is unbelievable to me. And there's some insurance specific stuff too that's unbelievable as well. But it's where do you see this going as it relates to insurance in your role? At a very high level, at a very large firm.
And when is it going to make agents obsolete?
That's really not the question. But we made this argument on an earlier podcast. Is that like I don't buy some of these firms that announce, oh, we laid off 400 people due to AI. Because it's like, wait a minute, if you can replace 400 people with AI, why not keep those 400 people and make them more productive? If they're able to do a job of 4, it's an excuse, which just furthers the beast of AI is scary, right? And doesn't serve anyone because now the employees are scared of it. You know what I mean?
100%. And I should preface this by saying this is Garrett's personal opinion, not the official opinion of Willis Towers Watson, right?
The whole Twitter thing. Opinions are my own.
Opinions are my own. Yeah. I mean, I think AI, how exciting for a young producer or just young person in our industry
Mhm.
because it's a force multiplier like nothing we've ever had. So it
Yeah.
puts you on par. There's no reason you can't punch above your weight and compete on any kind of deal and be empowered to, get a meeting that was previously out of reach or elevate your own personal knowledge even though you didn't have access to a mentor that could train you in a certain area that you were passionate about, right? Like I think of how lucky I was. So prior to insurance, now mentioned my illustrious acting career, but I was actually a developer. So I taught myself how to code in high school. I started a company while I was out in LA because I was not getting hired as an actor, and ended up selling it and kind of falling into insurance. But I had that technical background, and so when I got into insurance, literally no one would call me back except for tech companies because I could talk to them at the code level and say, look, I've seen your platform. It's C++ or Java. I speak those languages. I can tell you what that means from a risk standpoint. And nobody else was talking to them about that. Right. And so I just had this passion for technology and merging technology and insurance together. But if I was working for a firm that didn't specialize in technology or something, it doesn't matter. Like what a cool industry we work in where you can literally be passionate about anything in this world and build a career about how to insure that thing. Right.
Mhm.
And so now you can use Claude and I mean all the others to upskill in a way that just wasn't possible when 20 years ago when I got in.
Yeah. Well, it's some of the use cases that are not necessarily insurance specific are just like if I've got to dig for something on a website that I need, hit the little Chrome extension, find this for me, and I'm able to work while that does that. The thing I just got back from 30 days on paternity leave. I used Dispatch like crazy. Have you used Dispatch?
Mm-mm.
There's a tool called Claude Dispatch.
Mm.
So if you have Claude on your computer
I do.
and you have Claude on your phone,
Got it.
and it's the same account, you can open up Dispatch and you can say, do this thing on my computer. And it will open your computer up and do the thing you tell it to do without you being in that country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels
So
like
like,
magic.
Yeah. So I would be like, hey, find this document on my computer and send it to me. Boom. Done. Hey, go on my computer, pull this up, tell me what this is, and that sort of thing. It's unbelievable. And then there's some insurance specific stuff.
Is it a Chrome extension?
It's
As
the
part of
app on
Claude?
the computer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of like folks that are doing like great stuff in insurance, outside of the generic tools like Outmarket. I know you're involved with. They're friend of the show here. That's like I feel like give us the resources of a large firm. You know what I mean? Even down to stuff like policy checking. I think he's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you froze.
No, I'm still
There-
here.
There you go.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. You're back.
Okay.
Good old North Carolina internet.
It's having teenagers home at summer and them
Yeah.
streaming
Yeah.
4K ultra
Right.
high def. Right.
Reruns of Dawson Creek and
Yeah,
Exactly. Right.
Well, that's
yeah.
what,
We
that's what
forced them.
every night the family gathers around the TV
Right,
and he
right.
plays one of his shows. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
Every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Kevin Bacon made that joke and it was hilarious. He's like, yeah, every night we go down and we just spin the wheel and we watch one of my movies. But yeah, like there's a lot of like I look at like Outmarket and B Atomic's doing some good stuff. Like there's a lot going on that even if you're scared of the Claudes and the open AIs and all that sort of stuff, there's insurance specific stuff in a controlled environment that you can use that's unbelievable.
100%.
And,
100%.
and makes you feel like you have the resource. Like I'll give you a simple example. Like we are not a big enough firm to hire people to be policy checkers. But with Outmarket, like I can have the resources of that for a very, very small, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Totally. That's what I mean. Like, it's a force multiplier, right?
Yeah.
It puts you on a level playing field with much larger competitors that do have those resources. And I'll be honest, like some of those policy checking tools they catch things that humans don't,
100%.
because they don't get interrupted, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not distracted with a phone call that comes in, forgets where they were in the policy, or has a sick kid at home, right? Like it's just all it does is
Yeah.
eat, sleep, breathe, policy checking.
Yeah, they don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Michael Libor, do you know Michael Libor? He said something hilarious on our podcast. He was talking about his OpenClaw agent that he built, and he goes, "It doesn't need a effing lunch break. Its kids don't get sick." And just the way he said it was hilarious, but it's true. And it's also like, like I got into an argument with someone that was like, "Well, AI makes mistakes. AI agents will make mistakes." I'm like, "Yeah, so do humans. The AI will tell you." Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like one agent that we built that's working really good so far is it's like a large percentage of our companies don't download, our carriers. So we had a VA that whose sole job is to go find those renewal offers. And I built an AI agent that did that. So now all she has to do is make sure that the AI agent did its job. And that's kind of where I see like the future of work. It's like the low level non-revenue generating work is going to go to AI. The humans are going to do two things: higher revenue generating work, more important work, and making sure the AI agents are doing what they're supposed to do. Like that's kind of the way that I see it. And then to add on to that, you could even build an AI agent that's the supervisor. So then all that person has to do is check the supervisor,
100%. I fully agree. And I think all those firms that are laying off hundreds of people, saying that it's all AI, you are also seeing the headlines where they're now rehiring people because their token usage in AI was off the charts, and it actually cost them more to use AI solely for, as opposed to humans. So I'm a big believer. I'm a big fan of humans. I don't think we're going anywhere. I
Right.
don't think we will be replaced. I do think we will be augmented. And I think, it's great. Somebody asked me today about some of the startup firms that are generating headlines in our space, the corgis and with coverages. And, I think that's good for all of us, right? Like
Sure. Yeah.
challenge the model, right? We've all seen the death of the insurance agent. Insurance brokers are going away. And like,
Yeah.
I think we don't buy that story anymore. But 100% will be changed. And I think that's a good thing if it's for the benefit of the client.
Yeah. Yeah. Corgi and with coverage are interesting. Out of those two, I would definitely bet on the with coverage guys, because what they're doing is not too different than what most agencies do.
I would agree.
I don't know what those are.
Pat West had a hilarious tweet, and I apologize, Garrett, if you're friends with the people from Corgi. The week that guy went viral for the making his employees work every day of the week.
Yeah.
Pat West said, "Many of you have never watched an idiot with a bunch of money try to start an insurance company, and it shows."
Yeah.
So I'll give you the rundown on both of those after we get off the air.
Okay.
It's funny, Garrett. So I was at the Best Practices Summit in January, and this was like a week after With Coverage announced their fundraising round with their brazen messages and all that. And the average revenue in the room was like $8 million. Right.
Damn.
So me and Kevin Painter's there. We're like the small fish, right? And that's all anybody was talking about is With Coverage. And another agent, I don't think it was Painter, it was somebody else that also is heavy personal lines like I am, was like, "Why are these guys so worried about this?" And I was like, "Because you and I being in the personal line space, we've seen this before. Like we've seen this playbook. Come out, make huge claims, agents are dead. 2 years later, hey, agents, we're working with you now." We've seen it. This is the first time they've really attacked the middle market space, and nobody knows how to deal with it. And oh, by the way, they might actually have something. It may not work out the same way, but if nothing else, it's going to change the way people operate. And we've even tweaked some of our commercial strategies based on what With Coverage is doing. Where do you see
that's what I mean. Like that's why they're good for the ecosystem, because you say, you know what, actually, I kind of like part of that model and I can take that for myself. So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, and even like Lemonade, Lemonade kind of kickstarted the whole Insuretech, revolution, you know, like my disappointment in Lemonade is that I wish with their money, their resources, their attention, they would have picked up a bigger problem to solve, right? Rather than renters insurance. And I think that's my overall disappointment with a lot of Insuretech carriers is like, yeah, we're going to change the insurance industry. What are you going to do? Renters insurance in Ohio. Like, come on, guys,
Yeah.
pick something. And even like, I don't like Ken, but like at least Ken Insurance is like going into like catastrophic prone areas and trying something. But where do you see in your role at Willis, you know, we've seen a lot. We've had a little bit of noise lately with like AI exclusions on policies, things like that. I had an Insuretech we insure last week. He's like, I know our E&O is going to have an AI exclusion on it really soon. It didn't. Where do you see kind of that going? I know I attended a talk with the National Association or webinar with the National Association of Insurance Commissioners around AI compliance. It seems now all the attention is being pointed towards carriers and the AI companies themselves, not really agents and brokers. What's your thought on all of that?
I mean, it's too early to know where it's going to
Yeah.
go. You know, I think same. I'm not seeing. I know the ISO forms exist. I haven't seen them outside of a few obvious examples of where, you know, they probably should be added to a policy. If you can't underwrite the AI risk,
Right.
then I think the carrier is within their right to say, like, we're uncomfortable with this aspect of your operations. Otherwise, let them under the hood, let them underwrite it like they would anything else and price for it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where
And,
it
and then
goes.
it almost creates a market for a new product, like a supplemental E&O, excess
Well,
E&O for
you're
just
seeing
AI.
that, night,
Yeah.
right? Like there are products out there that are for generative AI risk, and you know,
I may or may not have a meeting really soon with somebody to talk about creating one.
great. I mean, you know, I think my example is always, you know, well, if it's silent, the answer is we don't know.
Right.
If it's covered, if it's not covered, you can't be sure. And so if you want the Tommy boy, I want the guarantee on the box, then go, you know,
I
buy a
feel like
product.
I feel like where we're going with it is the cyber endorsement on the BOP. I feel like what we're going to see is okay. You're going to have a sub limit of $50,000 for AI mistakes, and then you got to buy the full cyber policy, air quotes,
Yeah.
to get that. I think that's where it's going, if it goes anywhere at all. You know, like we had a freaking barber shop insured with somebody, and it came back with an AI exclusion. I'm like, on the GL, and I'm like, okay, like, you know.
I could probably live with that one.
Yeah, they're you know, my brother, the barber, is not using AI to cut hair. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I feel like I feel like every night that I don't spend time learning stuff on AI, I'm behind. Like I feel like we are in the middle of a gold rush.
I do too. And I just so you know, I think every one of us feels like we're all
Yeah.
behind. Like somebody else has figured it out slightly better than I have, and we're all kind of in that moment. I just encourage people to like get in the pool, right? Like
Yeah.
start playing with co-work, figure out what it can do. And that's the next generation of great ideas are going to come out of, you
Yeah.
know, your nights and weekends where you're Claude co-working, and you're going to stumble on something that becomes the next, you know, $10 million idea.
I had a lady ask me at a talk I was giving a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago. You know, I get it, but I don't even know where to start. And I said, ask the AI where to start.
My advice as well.
Like, just say, hey, this is my business. Where can I improve? You know, and that's, I've gotten some really good. I use Claude a lot just as like my business partner. Hey, I'm going to do this. What do you think? You know, because I have the connector set up, like it knows a bunch about my business.
In the last 4 or 5 podcasts, you have mentioned things that you did with Claude that sounds like business partner discussions with Claude.
Yeah.
Like I ask it to, you know, how is this conversation going to go? Kind of stuff.
Yeah, or like Notebook LM. Have you used Notebook LM? Have
Oh
you used
yeah,
Notebook
yeah,
LM?
it's tons of fun.
So I'm in a mastermind group that they do this thing where you have to every month that you're a member, it unlocks more courses basically, and it sounds scammy. It's really valuable stuff. Well, I was meeting with one of the employees at this mastermind, and I was like, I really need help around this subject, and he's like, well, there is this video in month 3 that they unlock, da da da, but I can go ahead and send you the slides. So I take the slides, drop them into Notebook LM, and it creates a podcast on the slide. So I'm able to get without having to read. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Yeah,
My,
I
my,
built a, lots of people are uncomfortable with digital asset terminology, risk profiles. It's just not something that most people find themselves insuring,
yeah.
and so we have a lot of people that whether they ask for it or not have been introduced into digital asset insurance and built a training module that anyone can sign up for this agent that
Mm.
will walk them through how to insure digital assets and how to think about the risk profile. And it does it at their own pace because there's knowledge check-ins. And if they're learning at an accelerated pace, it'll speed up the curriculum. And if they're not getting on, they're not catching up with the basics, it'll keep them there in the 101 course for a little bit. And yeah, what an amazing time we live in.
Hey, Garrett, I had one last question for you. I know we're going to have to get off here in just a minute, but um, for these retail independent agencies, agency owners that are out there, what advice would you give them relative to utilizing artificial intelligence? Let's just say over the next 3 years, for the next 36 months during this, as Bradley said, gold rush. What advice would you give them in terms of what to do? Because I mean, a lot of them are like me, and they're not quite as tech savvy as you two guys are. What advice would you give them?
I'm old enough and have been in the industry long enough to remember when cyber insurance was born and became a thing. And I remember um, the overwhelming majority of agency owners and brokers had a reaction like, "I don't wanna learn this new thing.
Mm,
I'm close to retirement, or I've been
right.
in this industry for 30 years. I don't wanna learn a new product that sounds way too over my head, too technical." Um, and now would you even consider not talking about cyber risk with any one of your commercial insureds?
Sure.
Um, right? So I think we're in the same place with AI where you can't afford to stick your head in the sand today. And if you do, it's pretty much the death of your firm at some point. You'll either sell to someone or you'll run out of steam competing with the people that are using it.
Mm,
Yeah.
I do believe that. And so Bradley's point is exactly the one that I make, which is even if you don't know where to start, ask the AI. And it does, we've said Claude a million times. You can use GPT, you can use Copilot, you can use whatever you've got.
Yeah.
Just ask it, here's who I am. This is what I do. This is my business. And I want you to act as my business partner, my consultant, and help maximize my usage of AI for this firm. Do all your research on us, our
mm,
competitors, and tell us how to pivot for the next 12, 24, 36 months. Build me a business plan that will execute and keep us on pace with all of our competitors and ahead of them. In 7 minutes, you'll have a complete 3-year
Yeah.
business plan roadmap that will be pretty good. So start
But
there.
the head in your sand thing is it's so important. It's like, so do you know why? So like, who's the best Major League Baseball player?
you asking me?
Yeah,
Uh,
Mike Trout.
no. Shohei Ohtani.
Okay, NFL, Mahomes.
One of the best. Yeah.
All right. If we take a group of people who are not a super fan of either sport, both those guys walk in the room. Who gets recognized by the most people?
Whew. I don't know.
I'd say Mahomes.
It's Mahomes.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Here's why. Like 10, 15 years ago, when social media was becoming a thing, all like NFL, all these big sports organizations let their players create social media profiles, build their personal brand, all that kind of stuff. MLB does not, and I still think, or did not, I still think they do not. MLB controls what their players can and cannot post online.
Didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Same thing with professional golf. The reason most of the guys that went to live golf is because live golf let them create the YouTubes and things like that. Okay. Toys R Us. The day that Toys R Us started declining was the day they decided to outsource their e-commerce to Amazon. You went to Toys R Us's website. Oh, I want to buy this. It forwards you to Amazon. Well, now people are like, we'll just go to Amazon, right? So, like, I think this is that moment for not just insurance, like the world. Like, if you do not at least pay attention to what's going on with AI, it's left in the dust.
The end.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Period. Yeah.
It's so funny that the two people we just brought up that you gave the example to, I started to say, well, if you were in Japan, I guarantee you I know which one would
this is true.
recognize
This is true.
more than the other.
I would recognize him. I
You would?
I would recognize Mike Trout. I would recognize Mahomes. I'd recognize LeBron.
Yeah.
I'd recognize Luka. Like, you know.
You know, it's so funny you bring that up because with a hat on in an airport with maybe some sunglasses on, I bet you I don't recognize 90% of any of them. You know, just because I'm, walking through, minding my own business, I'm not paying attention that the, most valuable player of the blah league is just walked right past me.
There are kids now, young kids, that will tell you their favorite sports team is the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, I believe it.
And it's because they do all the extra stuff. You know, and it's like the same thing with AI. I mean, if I'm able to process stuff way faster than my competition does, amortized out over several years, I've got a huge advantage. Right? I mean, one reason that we grew during the hard market compared to our competitors here is we were already staffed up for both sales and service. The competitors here locally that we're the closest to in size and agency type weren't staffed up in that sense, so they had to redeploy their salespeople to retention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Playing defense.
Yeah, playing defense. Whereas if you're playing defense all the time, when things are hard, it's not a big of a deal. You know? So it's like the football team that doesn't practice a 2-minute drill, you know?
Hey, Garrett, what do you talk? Who do you talk to? Like you're speaking to like the FBI. What are we talking about there? You're talking.
Well,
blockchain?
I'll bring this full circle because we started with blockchain. Today, the conversation involving AI and blockchain is really around deepfakes. So it's there's some well publicized claims of CFOs having conversations with their CEO in a Teams meeting. Turns out to be not their CEO, and they just wired $10 million into a bank.
What?
And so there's real-time video masking, real-time audio masking technology that you can buy on the dark web for less than $100, right? So you could have been talking to not Garrett this entire meeting, and you would have no idea.
Yeah, you're an avatar just sitting here talking to us.
Exactly. And all you need is 30 seconds of my voice. So you guys, how many hundreds of hours of audio is available on the internet for either one of you?
I cloned
right?
his voice. I cloned his voice with 11 Labs. Yeah.
So here's also I always give this risk management advice to anybody that's worried about this, because if you need 30 seconds of audio, and I can get that, and I can get a piece of technology software that will spoof your phone number to where I can call people from your line, right? So it shows up Bradley Flowers, but it's not you, but I've got your voice, and I start calling your family and saying, I've been kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
And this is happening. And so you need a family safe word to make sure that doesn't happen, right? My family is sick of hearing me say it, but I'm a public speaker. I'm out there a lot. And I also post, I'm going to be at this event. I'm going to be there, right? It'd be real easy for someone to, grab my voice, call my
Right.
wife and say, "Hey, I'm in New York and I just got kidnapped and I need you to wire $100,000
Yeah.
to so and so," right?
That happened. That
Eh,
happened to a friend of mine in Scott's. They cloned his kid's voice, called the mom, said
What a
he'd
nightmare.
been in an accident. They never asked for money, which was like the weird thing, you know. But like, so like, check this out. I played a prank on Scott the other day. Listen to this. Listen how good this
He
is.
does this all the time.
There's this podcast. It's called the Insurance Guys Podcast. It sounds super boring, but there's this guy named Scott that does the most electric fucking introductions you could possibly imagine.
Does that not sound exactly like Joe Rogan?
I thought it was him.
Like,
yeah.
you
Isn't that
know,
crazy?
I did that in like 10 seconds. I also did Donald Trump too.
Where are you going
So-
to do
so-
that?
11 Labs.
Oh,
Yeah, 11 Labs. Yeah. So here's where I think blockchain and AI intersect, because we're going to need some form of proof of humanity in the very near future. We need it right now, which means I need to authenticate that I am who I'm telling you that I am, because we can no longer trust our eyes or our ears. And so that will be when you're signing a contract or a mortgage agreement or entering into a Teams chat with your CFO. You're going to have to authenticate, I am who you think I am. And that will all be done on blockchain rails, and quite positive. It's already happening. There's several companies in that space. And so that's definitely something the FBI is keeping track of.
Yeah. That is the ultimate cross-pollination right there.
damn.
It's
What is wrong with people? Why can't they just act right?
Yeah, I mean, dude, when I first saw ChatGPT, the first thing I told Kenneth is I said, this is going to make scammers so good.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's true.
Even just down to the email, like you get a spam email, you know, but they can say, this is going to people in Alabama, write it like somebody in Alabama would write it, right? Like there's a thing going around with Progressive. Did you guys see that?
Oh, God.
Where people are going on, because if you go to Progressive's website, request an agent, they'll forward that lead to the agent. They're going on there and they're basically saying, hey, I want a quote, but I'd like to talk through Zoom. When you reach out to them, they send you the Zoom link. And when you log in, most people use like Google to log into Zoom. Boom, they've got your email. They've like spoofed Zoom. And it got so bad, Progressive put a bulletin out about it.
I bet travelers wishes they had a faster way to get money than their personal lines billing account.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I have no idea what happened over there, but
Yeah. You ready to wrap us up?
yeah, sure. I guess. Garrett, such a pleasure and an honor to see you again. Before we get off this podcast today, Christian, thank you. Nothing more boring in this world than watching paint dry and listening to an insurance podcast, unless you're in the industry. You hung in there today, and I appreciate it very much. You going to be back with us tomorrow?
He only went to sleep twice.
Okay, be back.
Yeah, you guys, anytime. I love chatting with you. So happy
yes,
to do
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Guys, as I end every episode, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. Go make money for your family. Go make money for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, for your parents and in-laws out there that are struggling like mine. Go make money for them. Write good business for the agencies that you represent, and write good business for the carriers that you represent. Bradley Flowers,
Thanks,
I love
man.
you.
Thanks, Garrett.
Garrett, you're the best.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Have a great rest of the day.
Same
guys,
to you.
You were listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care.